this hand looks fine. The Thraben Inspector into Seeker of the Way. We have a Lightning Bolt to remove an early threat. And we might be playing against Stompy or Elves. Oh, that's a problem. We're going to be playing against Bogles. Oblivion Ring is nice. We'll be able to get rid of a key enchantment. But the Lightning Bolt is going to be going to the face. It will not be able to target their creatures. We'll make the Seeker of the Way quite efficient, though. Being able to get some life gain is going to be very good. Okay, they have the Ethereal Armor. That's one of their best cards. It's going to grow their Glade Cover Scout for every aura that's on the battlefield, as well as give it first strike. I'm not going to bother throwing the Inspector under the bus here. I think that we can soak up a larger hit further down the road. Find Wind-Scarred Crag. So we're going to put the Seeker of the Way into play. And we're going to pass. We're going to keep the Thraben Inspector. I'm just wondering if we should attack with it at all. I think that we're going to block later. If they don't have Rancor, they would have played it already. Okay, Ancestral Mask functions in much the same way as Ethereal Armor. It's going to make the Glade Cover Scout enormous. Okay, we do get a land, so we can take the Ancestral Mask off the board and gain a little bit of life with the Seeker of the Way. Okay, we're also going to attack here for 3, and we'll gain 3 life. We'll leave the Thraben Inspector back on block duty here. Just waiting on our opponent. Even though they don't have a blocker, the program will still stop at blocks. So they might have walked away from the screen for a moment. Okay. We have nothing more to play. We'll pass. Utopia Sprawl, that will count for the Ethereal Armor, boosting the power and toughness of the Scout, I believe. Yes. Oh, an Armadillo Cloak, unfortunate. So the Glade Cover Scout is now going to have Trample and a form of lifelink. So this is going to be very difficult to race. Just wondering if it's worth it to soak up 2 points of damage here. I think we can wait. Doesn't seem very worthwhile. Okay, we get Boros Garrison. I think that Palace Sentinels isn't going to be very good here. They're going to be able to take the Monarch quite easily. We could Rally the Peasants, and that would deal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we would gain 5 life. But the Glade Cover Scout is just too much of a threat here. We need to see if we can find some kind of an answer, but we've already played the Oblivion Ring. I think that we've lost this game and we're going to move on. Suppose we could have drawn towards Prismatic Strands. Maybe gone for another turn. In any event, Standard Bearer is an excellent card in this matchup. Bring in Prismatic Strands, the second Oblivion Ring. And I don't think Electrickery is worthwhile. Might still be better than some of the removal spells that we have, and might just be able to catch one of their creatures, especially on the play here. Journey to Nowhere is garbage. Guardian of the Guildpact actually seems quite good. Not too wild about Rally the Peasants. Lightning Bolt seems quite poor. We could probably take out all the Lightning Bolts. But I think Lightning Bolt is slightly better than Journey to Nowhere. Shenanigans, not really great. Molten Rain doesn't seem very good. Pyroblast, Elemental Blast, those seem quite poor as well. So we might as well keep 2 Lightning Bolts to go to the face and trigger Seeker of the Way. So we're going to submit with this. And take the play. Okay, this hand is not good. We're going to mulligan. We have 2 Boros Garrisons and an Ash Barrens, so we won't be able to make any plays until turn 3. This hand is slightly better. I think we can play Wind-Scarred Crag, Mountain, play Squadron Hawk. We have access to Faithless Looting so that we can try and find some answers to the opponent's cards. We can also go wide with Battle Screech. So we're going to keep here, and we'll throw back the Forgotten Cave. Maybe... Yeah, we'll throw back the Forgotten Cave. I think the ideal draw right here would be Electrickery to potentially take one of their creatures off the board. Opponent making us wait here. This is becoming a habit. Okay, it looks like they have no play. So we're going to play Squadron Hawk. We have 4 cards in hand, so we can go get the other 3 Hawks. Okay, that looks like all 3. And we'll pass. Next turn we can cast Faithless Looting. We have Battle Screech to discard. Okay. The Cartouche. A creature gets +1/+1 in Vigilance, and they create a 1/1 warrior. Oh, the warrior has Vigilance. The Gladecover Scout gets First Strike. Oh, that's pretty different. First Strike is very good on these hexproof creatures. It means it's going to be much more difficult to block them profitably. Palace Sentinels, we're not too thrilled about that. Let's go ahead and loot. Okay, we find 2 more lands. I think that we want to probably discard the lands, actually. We might keep a Plains, though. Maybe we'll discard Mountain Mountain. Probably should have discarded the Garrison so we could guarantee to cast the Battle Screech next turn. In any event, we might actually be looking to flashback Faithless Looting to try and find some kind of answer. But we don't have many. Okay, here's another Boggle. We could trade Bird for one of their tokens. Take one less damage that way. Okay, we find O-Ring. That will get rid of an Armadillo Cloak if they cast it. I'm still thinking about casting the Faithless Looting here because I can't Battle Screech. And I want to get something better than Cartouche's Solidarity with the Oblivion Ring. So I'm going to discard, I think, Squadron Hawk Battle Screech. And then we'll play Boros Garrison. We'll have access to 5 mana next turn. So we'll be able to play an Oblivion Ring if we need to, plus Squadron Hawk, or we could play Battle Screech plus Inspector. We're going to go ahead and attack here. We want to get some damage in so that we have the ability to kill the opponent later on. Although it might have been better to hold these back and kill the opponent's creatures. Would really like to find Prismatic Strands so we can prevent green damage. That would be quite good. Would also allow us to block and kill a scout, because the first strike damage wouldn't kill the blockers before they could do damage. So Prismatic Strands is going to be an excellent draw. Oblivion Ring is going to be pretty good if they present an Armadillo Cloak or something like that. The Ancestral Mask is another example of something we would want to get rid of. Okay, here's another Boggle. Definitely looking for a copy of Electrickery here. Electrickery off the top would wipe all the threats. I could Oblivion Ring the Cartouche and then get rid of all the opponent's creatures. So definitely glad we brought Electrickery in. Now we just need to find it. The opponent is pausing at some very strange times, but they are still playing faster than us. I don't think the opponent has to worry about the time on their clock, honestly, despite all these strange pauses. Alright, opponent, you got anything else? Okay, we get to untapped and we get Guardian of the Guildpact. Fantastic. So we can play Guardian and Thraben Inspector. Guardian can block and kill the Glade Cover Scout, no problem. Unless, of course, they get another enchantment, but That's not something we're going to worry about at the moment. We have Oblivion Ring to take care of whatever they play next, and now we have a pretty good blocking force. We're going to use the Battle Screech here to flush out our board. Opponent making us wait on the Inspector. They must be double queuing. They might just have lands in hand here, so they're probably just going to pass. Yep. Okay, we find Ash Barrens. That's not something we're really interested in right now. I think that we probably Battle Screech, flashback Battle Screech, attack with a couple creatures, hold back the Guardian. I think we do definitely cycle the Ash Barrens. It's basically free since we don't have another land. Let's just check our mana here. So we have 5. We could have access to 6 instead, which would be Battle Screech plus Squadron Hawk. I think we can afford the colorless mana. We could also sacrifice the Clue and try and find a better card. I'm pretty good with going wide here. And with the Battle Screech. So we'll sacrifice the Clue and see what else we draw. We find another Looting. So we're going to hold on to that for now, and we'll Screech. Okay, and we'll go to combat. We're going to want to attack with our creatures in the air. And we'll pass. Getting pretty lucky here with the opponent not drawing anything super relevant. And we have an answer to their first relevant aura. Faithless Looting is going to be pretty good to dig us towards Electrickery or Prismatic Strands. And if we find a Rally the Peasants, I think we win on the spot. We have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would need another land to win, I think, with Rally the Peasants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 3. No, we would win. Just need to find it. Okay, we'll start with Faithless Looting. We can discard Squadron Hawk, no problem. And we find Rally. Excellent. So we can discard Squadron Hawk and Wind-Scarred Crag. Play the Mountain. We'll go to combat and Rally. Okay, we're going to hold the other creatures back just in case they have a fog effect. So we have 8 creatures attacking. 8 times 3 is 24. They need a fog here or they're dead. Okay. I think we're pretty happy with how we sideboarded. I think that Electrickery is still better than Lightning Bolt, so we're going to leave that there. And we're going to present this deck. Prismatic Strands and Standard Bearer. are really our two best cards here in this matchup. If we can, and the Guardian of the Guildpact was fantastic there. Very, very strong. Being able to block a creature that doesn't have trample forever, it's pretty good. But the Standard Bearer, if we're able to draw it, will steal all of the opponent's enchantments. They won't be able to play any of them. It's basically like a Spellskite, except we don't have to pay mana or life. Okay, we get Electrickery. It's not going to be a very good card on the play here, or rather on the draw, sorry. But we do have access to Faithless Looting and Squadron Hawk. This hand is very mediocre. I'm not sure if it's worth keeping, but I do very much like the Faithless Looting, and the Electrickery is okay. I think that we're going to mulligan. One of the main reasons being that we have 2 Squadron Hawks, and our first land is tapped, so he won't be able to loot right away. I think we can do better. Okay, this hand is basically the same. We are going to keep it. We have the looting again. Oh, our opponent is mulligan down to 5, so we can keep mulliganing as well. Not a huge fan of this. Palace Sentinels is mediocre, Battle Screech is a long way off, but we can Faithless Loot on turn 2. But I don't like all these tap lands either. We're going to mulligan to 5. Okay, we find Standard Bearer. We are low on lands, unfortunately. But we're going to keep it on the strength of Standard Bearer, hoping that we can find a second land. So we're going to get rid of a Seeker of the Way and a Battle Screech. And hope that we can find a red land for our second turn. Ideally, an untapped mountain. We want basic mountain. 2 draws. Okay, our opponent still deciding if they want to keep their 4 or go to 3. Looks like they're keeping their 4. Looks like they have a Utopia Sprawl. Okay, no creature yet. Very good. Let's see if we can find a land. First try. No luck. We'll play the step and pass. Okay, they have a second land. They have all their colors, and here's a Gladecover Scout. And a Rancor. So Electrickery will work if we find a red mana. Okay, unfortunately it comes into play tap, so we cannot play our Standard Bearer yet. We can do next turn. If we don't want to play Electrickery, we'll see what the opponent has first. Okay, here's a Bogle. Looks like Electrickery is going to be gasoline here. Okay, and they don't even attack. They want to keep that creature around so much. So we're going to definitely go ahead. And we should wait until they try and cast something, and we'll do the Electrickery in response. But we wouldn't be able to play the Boros Garrison that way. So we're just going to do it now, I think. Or do we play the Standard Bearer first? We could play the Standard Bearer, get the Borison down, and then play Electrickery later. Okay. Get the step back in our hand so we can cycle it. And no attacks. Let's go. They won't be able to play an aura this turn because it will go onto the standard bearer. They'll need a removal spell for it. And we have removal for all their creatures in the Electrickery. So it looks like we might get this match. We're feeling pretty favored at this point. Is the opponent ready to deal with a standard bearer? No attacks? Okay. We find Rally the Peasants. We could cycle Secluded Steppe, but I'm more interested in just playing it as a land again. And we're going to hold up Electrickery. We might just play Seeker of the Way first, and then we can Electrickery as a something to do next turn. With the standard bearer in play, I'm not under any real threat. So we can hold off just as long as that standard bearer stays in play. And we're going to get an extra creature for our patience. Okay, we find Faithless Looting. Not too interested in that right now. We could crack the clue to see if we can find a land or something. Okay, we find Prismatic Strands. Very cool. We'll overload the Electrickery and our opponent will concede. Anytime now. There it is. This hand looks fine. We can play Wind-Scarred Crag into plain Seeker of the Way. So we'll definitely keep. Our opponent is taking the mulligan. Riderstein. They got some sort of vampire avatar. Anjay Falconwrath. Okay. So another Forest Utopia Sprawl. This could be a couple things. It is kind of looking familiar, though, from last game, isn't it? Okay, another Wind-Scarred Crag. We're going to go ahead and play that. And pass the turn. Okay, here's a Ledgewalker. So we're probably playing against, yep, the exact same deck. We're going to go up against Bogles again. So we have Guardian of the Guildpact, but it doesn't block the Ledgewalker. And Battle Screech is only going to be able to slow it down a little bit. I think that we're going to have to stick with the plan for now. They probably have an Armadillo Cloak? No, Ancestral Mask. So that's going to make the clock very, very quick. Okay, another land. We have access to 3 mana total. I want a Faithless Looting to start. Hello, Crown. Welcome to Pauper. How you doing today? Okay, we find Battle Screech and Looting. I want to throw one of the Battle Screech away and probably the tap land. Maybe the Rally the Peasants. That's really not what we're into right now. We can cycle Ash Barrens and play the Crag. Gain a little bit of life. And attack to gain a little bit of life. We can put some birds into play next time so that we can start chumping. I'm doing all right, Crown, thanks. Our opponent is putting up quite a bit of pressure here with this Ledgewalker. The Armadillo Cloak is going to really finish us off. We're not going to be able to block anymore. So it's basically garbage time at this point. Don't think there's any combination of cards we can draw. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's see if we can find it this turn. Last chance to find strands. We find Journey to Nowhere, which is no good. Throw that away. And we'll throw away the Boros Garrison. We're not going to have time for that. Flashback Faithless Looting. If we find the strands, we can put it into the graveyard, discard it, and be able to cast it through the Seeker of the Way. So it's a no-go. We'll concede here. Okay, so we're going to sideboard the same as last time. Bring in the Standard Bearer, bring in the Electrickery, and the Oblivion Ring, and the Prismatic Strands. We'll take out 2 Lightning Bolt, a Firebolt, and the Journey to Nowhere. Okay, good to go. Well, we don't really expect to be able to take a game against Bogle's Game 1. We're much better set up to do it Game 2. So we'll see if we can do the same thing we did last match. Problem with that Ledge Walker is the Guardian can't block it, and then once it got Trample, the only option we had was to find strands after strands after strands, and I mean that's still not really going to do very much. Oblivion Ring would have taken the Armadillo Cloak off, but then they still would have been attacking with an unblockable creature, which was what, an 8/8? We need access to Standard Bearer. We need access to another Oblivion Ring. And if we're lucky, we won't be dealing with a Ledge Walker, so our Guardian can block it. Not too hot on the Palace Sentinels in this matchup, but I think that they're slightly better than Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt doesn't really hit anything. Okay, here we go. We can take the play. So we only have 1 land. It's a Boros Garrison, so we're going to mulligan. Okay, this hand is fine. We'll have to get rid of something. The Palace Sentinels is great. We'll get rid of that. Okay, we're good. We can play Plains Thraben Inspector. And if we find an untapped land, we can go Seeker of the Way turn 2, but we'll probably be playing the Boros Garrison next. We'll be able to cycle the Secluded Steppe with the Plains if we go that route. Okay, Wind-Scarred Crag. Find another Guardian of the Guildpact. Play the Boros Garrison, return the Plains. And, I mean, we probably just keep the Thraben Inspector back, right? Or are we supposed to attack with it? They're not going to attack into an untapped Thraben Inspector. And if they have a Rancor or something, we could block the Slippery Bogle. So I think we hold the Inspector back just in case they don't have something to give the Bogle first strike. Okay, here's a Rancor, and they won't be able to attack here. They're not going to want to sacrifice their creature. So good thing we held the Thraben Inspector back. That saved us 3 damage, and we find Prismatic Strands off the top. So we're going to be playing Wind-Scarred Crag, play the Seeker of the Way, and then next turn we'll have Guardian of the Guildpact up. Okay, we're going to pass here. We can attack for 1 here. We have the Seeker of the Way to block the Bogle, if it comes to that. If they have Ancestral Mask, we could double block for 4, but I think that would be better when we have Prismatic Strands anyway. Let's go ahead and attack for 1 this turn. What we do next turn is going to be very dependent on what they do here. Okay, so now that they have their 3rd mana, they can look to be casting their scarier spells. Oh, and they have Ethereal Armor here. So now they have First Strike. The Seeker of the Way is just a bump in the road. We're not going to bother. It's going to be better to hold that back for the Prismatic Strands. And we are going to want to use the Prismatic Strands here because the creature has Trample. So we're just going to pass and hope that we can get the Seeker of the Way to deal enough damage to kill the Bogle. We're not interested in Guardian of the Guildpact because the creature has Trample. We really needed them to fade on another aura here. Okay. Standard Bearer is fine. We can Lightning Bolt the Standard Bearer and we have Prismatic Strands, so that's cool. Interesting that they're playing a Standard Bearer of their own. That's very interesting. So that's 1, 2. 2 spells, which will get the Seeker of the Way to 4, and then the Thraben Inspector will be the 5th. So we don't need to flashback Prismatic Strands yet. Let's go to blocks. Yeah. That would have done damage and we would have got to gain some life, but in this line, we get to kill all their things and take no damage, and gain life. So I'm pretty proud of this line. Our patience is paying off here. We do still have to fade anything that the opponent has in hand, but I think that they won't have an answer to what we're doing. Okay, it will prevent any green damage. And we're going to remember to do the yields on the Seeker this time. Save ourselves a little bit of clock time. Okay, so the Bogle does no damage. Lightning Bolt kills the Standard Bearer. Our creatures kill their Bogle. They get the Rancors back, but we gain 4 life. Very strong turn for us. Now we're going to be able to deploy a Guardian, depending on what they do next. Okay, so that's going to be able to carry their Rancors. But we have Prismatic Strands in the graveyard, ready to be flashed back by the Guardian. So we can attack for 3 here. Technically, we should have played the Guardian post-combat, so the opponent would have had to sweat out what the Seeker of the Way was going to do. That would have just been slightly better. Okay, Utopia Sprawl. So they have access to tons of mana. Is this another Armadillo Cloak? Yes, it is. Okay, so the creature goes up to a 3/3. They're going to be able to attack if they want, but it's not going to do anything. We'll just block. We have protection. I don't think they'll even gain the life because the damage is prevented. They don't. So they should have kept that back to block our creatures. Okay, we find Battle Screech. So we have a choice between casting the Screech or casting another Guardian of the Guildpact. It's pretty close, actually. Another Guardian means we could double block the Scout and try and kill it. Battle Screech goes wide in the air, and we're going to be able to start doing more damage with the Seeker of the Way and gaining life. If we had the second Seeker of the Way in play, I think I would go for the Battle Screech, but I'm going to go for the Guardian of the Guildpact this turn instead. Okay, we're good here. We'll pass. Opponent still has 3 cards in hand, so they have plenty of things to do. Ancestral Mask is very strong on their side. So I think the Mask is almost going to finish us off. We're going to have to crack the clue and try and find another Prismatic Strands, or see if we can finish the game off. We don't need to block here. We're just going to cast Prismatic Strands, name green, and we'll move on to our turn. They gain no life, we take no damage. See what we draw. We get another land. Okay, so we have access to 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage with the Battle Screech. That's not going to be enough. We're going to need to crack our clue and see if we can find anything. Okay, we find Ash Barrens, which is a nothing. I don't think we can get back into this game. This is just going to bury us now that we can't kill it or prevent the damage. So it looks like we're 1-1 versus Bogles. Can we survive a turn? If we block with the 2 Guardians, and I'm just thinking, like, I think that's really a losing game. How can we possibly get rid of all of this at once? We can pick away at things one at a time. We just need too many things to go right in a row. We're going to concede here. This hand is quite slow, but we do have Faithless Looting to be able to discard Prismatic Strands. I'm actually leaning towards keeping this. We'll see what happens. We'll start with a mountain and pass so that we can cast Faithless Looting on turn 2 if we don't draw something better, and we'll have a better idea of what the opponent is playing. Okay, Riftbolt, Prismatic Strands, and Guardian of the Guildpact are going to be okay. Oblivion Ring is going to be able to take care of some of the problem cards that comes up in this matchup. Okay, we find Squadron Hawk. We could put that into play, or we could put the Boros Garrison into play and have access to 3 mana next turn. I think I would rather put the Squadron Hawk into play and get that going right now. Now we could be cheeky here, grab the 3rd Squadron Hawk and discard Prismatic Strands to hand size, but I would rather cast Prismatic Strands twice. Okay, Searing Blaze gets rid of the Squadron Hawk. And we find another land. So we can put the Boros Garrison into play so we can get the Guardian of the Guildpact off next turn. And then we can start holding up Prismatic Strands. Okay, let's see. Do they find their third land? Looks like they don't. Battle Screech. So we have access to 4 mana. We can Battle Screech and Flashback. I don't think they'll be able to kill us next turn, but not having the Prismatic Strands up is a little bit of a pain. We could Faithless Looting and hold up Prismatic Strands. I kind of like getting a clock on the board now, waiting one more turn. How are we going to win otherwise? Prismatic Strands is nice to prevent some damage, but we have to be able to win, right? So we need a clock on the board. We actually have the mana that we would be able to fling the Chain Lightning back at the opponent. They found their third land here, and they're really punishing us for not holding up the Prismatic Strands. I guess we're a bunch of losers. Well, that's what I get for underestimating the burn deck. We're going to bring in Standard Bearer. That will eat up 1 burn spell. Not the Oblivion Ring, sorry. We want the Prismatic Strands. Okay, and that's basically all the cards we can bring in. As for what to take out, we want to keep in the removal spells. They have some pretty strong creatures that we want to kill. The Oblivion Ring can hit their enchantment. So I think we want to take out something higher on the mana cost here. Guardian of the Guildpact, I think, is going to be the sacrifice. Palace Sentinels is going to survive a single spell, just like the Guardian, but if they want to throw 2 spells at a Sentinels, that's better than them hitting us in the face, right? Okay, we'll take the play. This is okay, we'll keep. Mostly on the back of Seeker of the Way. Think they'll have to throw a spell at that, almost certainly. Okay, there's a Rift Bolt. So there is the question of whether we play the Seeker of the Way this turn, or if we want to wait until we have Prismatic Strands to back it up. Because I would like to try and gain some life with it. So maybe we start with Squadron Hawk and see if we can get Seeker of the Way in a better position. We might also look at discarding our Prismatic Strands this time so we can cast it without mana. So that could be a good turn 3 here. We could play Seeker of the Way, play Faithless Looting, put the Prismatic Strands into the graveyard. Okay, they got a Lava Runner with haste here. We'll prevent the damage. Not a very attractive block, but that's what we're priced into. Okay, unfortunately, we do not have another untapped land, so we cannot Seeker and Faithless Looting and hold up Prismatic Strands. That's really unfortunate. So we can play Squadron Hawk, play Inspector. We can play Seeker of the Way, but we're not going to be able to protect it with Prismatic Strands. We could cast the Faithless Looting and see if we can find an untapped land. And then if we can't, we can play Thraben Inspector. Okay. Let's discard Squadron Hawk and Prismatic Strands and play Thraben Inspector and Boros Garrison. Okay, we'll pass here. Okay, we're going to let this through so we can hold the Thraben Inspector up. And that's going to prevent them, I think, from casting spells here. Okay, no, they go ahead and cast Keldar Marauders. So we'll take one from that. And we'll be able to do some Seeker of the Way stuff now. Hopefully gain a bit of life. Okay, we find Plains. So we have access to 4 mana. We can play Seeker of the Way and Squadron Hawk. Or we can play Seeker of the Way, Thraben Inspector, and Cycle Steppe. I like that one. Let's do that. Okay, we're going to hold back here. This is going to be the Prismatic Strands turn. We can wait until they act before we cast our spell. And if they don't cast any spells, we can block Thraben Inspector. We can chump the both creatures and keep the Seeker of the Way healthy. Okay, opponent's taking their time this turn. Makes sense. They have a lot to think about. Prismatic Strands is a little bit of a pain when I can just tap a creature and prevent all their damage for a turn. If I had just cast it on upkeep, would have been a little bit simpler. But that would have allowed the opponent to cast spells in response if they have any instants. Okay, they have a 3rd land here, and they're going to cast Riftbolt on the Seeker of the Way. If they want to sacrifice 2 mountains to Fireblast, that's fine. This is going to prevent all red damage. Okay, they're not going to bother attacking, I believe. So we'll cycle and start our turn. We find another Prismatic Strands off the top. Fantastic. Let's start with drawing a card, and then we can play the Mountain if we need to keep up Prismatic Strands. Okay, fine, Battle Screech. So we'll play the Mountain. And we'll pass. They still have the Keldar Marauders up, so we don't want to attack into that. But it's pretty telltale here. We're holding up 3 lands. Okay, so they have 2 cards in hand. I think I cast... It's pretty tough. Do I cast Prismatic Strands here? I think I hold it up. We'll just take the 1. And we'll try and counter one of their spells in response with the Strands. Like we did last turn. Okay, if they attack here, I'll just double block with the Inspectors. Looks like they're just going to pass. We're going to go ahead and untap. Not going to bother with a clue. We're going to make it very clear that we have Prismatic Strands. Next turn, we're going to be looking at casting a Faithless Looting and attacking with Seeker of the Way to gain some life. But right now, we want to keep Prismatic Strands as an option. They're going to want to. The opponent's going to want to build up spells so that they can cast one sorcery. I'll cast Prismatic Strands, and while Strands is on the stack, they'll unload with a flurry of burn spells, so that I can't flash it back. It's on the stack. It's not in the graveyard. Okay, we find Lightning Bolt. So we're going to be able to get the Lava Runner out of the way and then attack them with lifelink creatures, or a lifelink creature. Okay, I'm also going to want a Faithless Looting this turn. Might as well do that now, get an extra power and toughness on the Seeker of the Way. Okay, we find some lands, so let's get rid of Battle Screech, I think, and Squadron Hawk. Okay, and we can play a Squadron Hawk. So if we play a Squadron Hawk, we can flash back Battle Screech. So we should have done that pre-combat, so we could have gotten extra life. Oh, we're out of Squadron Hawks. So slight mistake. We should have one more life. Our opponent should have one fewer. But as long as we have these Faithless Lootings to keep casting, our Seeker of the Way is going to continue to gain us life. Oh, our opponent has conceded. Still had 5 cards in hand, but the Prismatic Strands were too strong. So we're going to go ahead and submit again, just like this. Keep the deck the same. Okay, so we have Seeker of the Way, a good card. We have Journey to Nowhere to get rid of one of theirs. The hand is a little bit slow with Wind-Scarred Crag into Boros Garrison, but we can get another basic with Ash Barrens. We're going to keep this, but we might be punished. We do have access to Journey to Nowhere as early as turn 2, so we can get rid of that Lava Runner if we just play the Ash Barrens. Okay, another Crag, so that'll gain us another life. And we'll pass. Okay, if the opponent has another land here and spell, they'll be able to do us an extra damage. But it looks like they might be mana screwed. Okay, so they only have one land in hand, which means they have all spells. That's also scary. Okay, so we draw Mountain. So we can play Mountain Journey to Nowhere and get rid of that creature. Or we can Faithless Looting and try and find something. I like playing the Journey and just getting rid of this recurring source of damage. Playing Seeker of the Way could also be very good. But if they have Lightning Bolt in hand, target Seeker of the Way, that would be fine. We would be preventing damage in that case. So I think we can try and play one Seeker now and see what happens. We'll really try and protect the second Seeker. We'll go out of our way to try and protect it. This first one here is kind of like a canary in the coal mine. Okay, here's a Chain Lightning for the Seeker, and we're going to take 2 damage. But we did prevent 3 damage to our face from the Chain Lightning. So we're at 15, but we could have been at 12. Okay, we get Firebolt. Fantastic. That's a great answer to the Lava Runner. And then we can keep the Journey to Nowhere for their Alchemist. We could Firebolt and play a land, play Seeker of the Way. Or we could Firebolt and Looting. I like the Looting plan this turn. Get rid of Ash Barrens and something else. First thing, let's just go ahead and kill this creature. We know we want to do that. And we'll loot. Okay, we find 2 more lands. So we'll get rid of Ash Barrens and Mountain. And we'll play the Crag to gain a life. And pass back. Okay, the opponent has another Lava Runner, which has haste. And they still have 4 cards in hand because they haven't been playing lands. Okay, we get another Seeker of the Way. So I'm going to play 2 Seekers of the Way and hope that they miss on land again, so we get to keep 1 and gain life with it. But if they get land and are able to Lightning Bolt, then it might be lights out. So I think this is going to be Crux turn here. Oh, the opponent does get land. So let's see. They only have 1 Searing Blaze, though. So we're able to keep a Seeker of the Way for a turn. We're going to be gaining life. No blocks here. They won't be able to kill us, and we're going to be able to gain more life than they're doing in damage. Oh my. Rally the Peasants. If only we could have kept both, huh? So we're going to cast Journey. I would like to Rally the Peasants to gain all that life, though. We just don't have enough mana to do both. So if we Rally, we gain 5. If we Journey, we gain 3, but that takes the Lava Runner off the board, which also gains us 2 more life. So we're going to start with the Journey. Get that Lava Runner out of here and gain some life. It might have been prudent to use the Rally the Peasants, gain more life, and then Firebolt next turn. But this is the line that we've chosen. Okay, they have the Marauders. Can't kill that with a Firebolt. Okay, we get Sentinels. Okay, that's a good blocker. And we have access to 6 mana. So we could Rally the Peasants twice and gain a ton of life. That would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 life. I think we're into that. Let's Rally the Peasants here. Let's see if they block. They do. Okay. So we are going to lose our Seeker of the Way, but we're going to gain a ton of life off it. Oh, and they have the Pyroblast to answer the Seeker. Okay, so we gain no life. The opponent has access to no lands, though. So they're going to be able to hit us for 4 from the Keldon Marauders in total. And they need to draw land into land. Oh, they got it too. They're so lucky. Okay, there's a Rift Bolt. Okay, we're taking 3 and we'll take another 4. So we're at a virtual 4 next turn. We get Battle Screech. Very close game here. That Pyroblast from the opponent was so clutch. Okay, we're going to 4. What has the opponent got? 2 cards in hand, and it looks like they're going to pass. Okay. Boros Garrison can return Wind-Scarred Crag to gain us a life. And we have Battle Screech to go ahead and put some more cards onto the table. Let's, I guess we can't Faithless Looting, we only have 2 mana. Okay, we find Seeker of the Way. Fingers crossed we can live a couple more turns here and draw our way towards Prismatic Strands. We get another Battle Screech, so we'll gain a life to 5. Play Seeker of the Way. And I think we want to Faithless Looting as well. Okay, we find Lightning Bolt. So we want to keep that in hand. If we can untap, we're going to be in a pretty good position. If the opponent draws a land here, then they're going to be able to do some pretty good stuff. If they have another Pyroblast in hand, for example. All right. This hand is not great. Not great. I like the Faithless Looting, the Prismatic Strands, the Lightning Bolt. It's just very slow. This is more interesting to me. I like this. We can play Wind-Scarred Crag into Squadron Hawk turn 2. We have a removal spell in Lightning Bolt. And Rally the Peasants is going to be excellent with Squadron Hawk, so we'll just get rid of the Forgotten Cave. Okay, it looks like we're playing against one of the Fairy control decks. That's going to make the Squadron Hawk very awkward to resolve on turn 2. They could just have a Spell Stutter Sprite, depending on what land they place second. But we're going to follow the plan for now. See what we draw. Battle Screech. Yep, so Wind-Scarred Crag pass. Okay, so here's a mountain. Let's see if they make a ninja. No ninja. So they're probably just going to pass here, which means they have Spell Stutter Sprite up. I think that I just play Boros Garrison, returning the Crag and pass. I don't want to play my Hawk into their Spell Stutter Sprite. No Ninja again, and they're just holding their mana up to counter our plays. We could Faithless Looting here, and then Squadron Hawk if they counter the Faithless Looting. Okay, so they let it go off. We can put the Prismatic Strands and the Battle Screech into the yard. And now that we have a second Hawk, we're going to go ahead and play our first Hawk and see if we can bait out one of their sprites. Oh, Exclude instead. Oh, that's quite good for the opponent. Not really expecting to see Exclude outside of Tron. But why not? It's a fantastic counterspell. It replaces itself. Okay, they're holding up a ton of mana again. And they have 5 cards in hand. Get another Palace Sentinels. Palace Sentinels aren't going to be very good here while they have the Fairy Seer available. I'm leaning towards casting Faithless Looting a second time. Okay, they're going to counter that. We have no mana available. We'll just play the Crag and pass. Feels pretty good. They're using a counterspell on a flashback Faithless Looting. That's a card from their hand, one of their best cards in their deck, for a card in our graveyard. Very good trade for us. Okay, we get another land. We're going to play the Squadron Hawk, and if they play a Spellstutter Sprite, we have access to Lightning Bolt. No, they're spending a full counterspell on the Squadron Hawk. So we have 3 mana left. I think we just pass here. We don't have too much else we can possibly do. We don't have the mana for the Sentinels. We could try and cast a Lightning Bolt. I think we are actually going to cast a Lightning Bolt at this point. Frantic Inventory. So this is basically... what is that card? I feel like there's another card that does the exact same thing with a different name. We're going to cast the Lightning Bolt now. Get that creature off the board. Okay, we get Prismatic Strands. I think we want to cast the Palace Sentinels. I don't want to be playing draw go with the opponent here. This is going to be a bit of a pain if they have a Spellstutter Sprite to start attacking, but they're throwing another counterspell at us. They have counterspells for days. 3 counterspells and a Exclude so far from the opponent. Okay, we get another Prismatic Strands. Let's see if the Palace Sentinels will stick this time. Nope. They have counterspell number 4. 4 counterspells. So they don't have any more. Okay, here's a Fairy Seer. This is a very heavy counter deck that we're playing against. Very heavy on the counterspells. So we're going to be looking forward to bringing in all of our red counterspells. Okay, we got Lightning Bolt. We're not going to cast anything right yet. Let's pass the turn. We'll hold up the Lightning Bolt just in case they trade a Fairy in for a Ninja. We can take 1, and we'll hold the Lightning Bolt. Okay, we get Battle Screech, so let's go ahead and try. Exclude won't work on this one. They've already used all their counter spells. Do they have Negate? Okay, they're going to draw some extra cards. And we get our birds. Okay, let's pass the turn. If they want to use lightning bolts on our bird tokens, that's fine. If we can get one more creature into play, though, we're going to be able to start flashing back our Battle Screeches. Okay, it is attacking. We are going to trade. We're fine with this trade. Half a card for one of their cards. And we find a Guardian. Okay, they do have 4 cards in hand, so it is possible they have another Exclude. But I think that we're better off trying to cast our spells. Run them into their counter spells. And if we manage to get a Guardian of the Guildpact to resolve, forget about it. So that's very good for us. Okay, here's a Spell Stutter Sprite. That's fine. Okay, they are going to try and attack here. Now, if they do have a ninja, we will not be able to lightning bolt it because they have the Spell Stutter Sprite. But that ninja is not going to be able to attack anymore. Something we should have done there was use the Prismatic Strands, so they would not have drawn a card. Okay, we get another Crag, gain a life. And we'll attack for 1 and pass the turn. Ninja can no longer attack. We have the perfect wall. I have a feeling this game is going to go on quite long, so we're going to try and speed up our play. The clock between myself and my opponent is still quite close. Okay, another Rally the Peasants. We'll attack for 1 in the air. Oh, the grind. The grind is real. Really real. Okay, we get a Plains. We'll play it and attack for 1. Okay, there's Scred on the bird. That's totally fine. I suppose we could Prismatic Strands it. We do have access to a ton of strands here. Let's just go ahead and counter their spell. It's kind of funny. They're using a Scred. I'm protecting the bird with my strands. It's just a 1/1 flyer. It is what it is. Half a card for their Scred. And they'll take a damage. Oh, if they want to trade their Spell Stutter Sprite for our bird, we are into that. We will absolutely let them do this. Oh, no block. Okay. Maybe I want to try and Lightning Bolt the ninja now. Now that the Spell Stutter Sprite is out of the way. Oh, they had another one. Ah, you're right. I'm wrong. I got greedy. What are we missing? Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah, you're totally right. I thought it was sources from the opponent's side, but that lightning bolt was pretty stupid. We're having some trouble drawing anything of note here. I'm wondering if I keep attacking with the bird. I think I do. And I can flash back Prismatic Strands to prevent damage if I need to. Yeah, we both didn't see it. We both just clear missed that. That would have been a punt for sure. Imagine that. Cast the lightning bolt and they let it resolve. Ninja stays on the board. That would have been embarrassing. Okay, we get Thraben Inspector. Finally, a quality card. Let's see if it will resolve. The opponent does have 3 cards in hand. Here's a Spell Stutter Sprite. So they're going to counter our Thraben Inspector with that. How's our clock? We're still playing too slow. We'll have to pass. Electrickery would be pretty good here, but that's in our sideboard waiting for us for game 2. They want to attack here, we will block one of their Spell Stutter Sprites, get it off the board. Okay, we found Battle Screech. The problem is they have 3 Spell Stutter Sprites on the board plus Fairy Seer, so they can counter our Battle Screech. I think we still have to play into it though, and just get it off of, get it out of their hand if they have it. They only have 2 cards in hand, so if this resolves, we're going to be doing pretty well. And if not, then that's their final Spell Stutter Sprite out of the way. So we have some pretty good draws and some pretty bad draws here. Frantic Inventory, they're going to be able to reload from that. Draw 3 cards, I think. Lightning Bolt on our bird, huh? That's going to let them start attacking. We could cast Prismatic Strands here, but I think we'd be better off casting it versus blue and preventing all that damage. Now, we got a bunch of them in our graveyard as well. Let's try and save our bird. If they attack here, we will trade a bird for one of their sprites. And then we'll recast Prismatic Strands so they do not draw. And if they have a ninja here, they won't be able to draw from the ninja because it triggers on combat damage. We will probably have to cast both. Because I imagine they're going to counter this one. No, they don't. Okay, so we'll call blue. We will take no damage, they will draw no cards. Okay, we get Squadron Hawk, very nice. But they're going to counter this with Spell Stutter Sprite. There it is. and we'll have to pass. We have access to a pair of Prismatic Strands left in the graveyard. And our clock is still going too slow for my liking. Or too fast, I mean. We're playing a little bit too slow. Okay, so they have Scred. They can kill our bird. We're going to let that happen. We're going to be preventing blue damage now with Prismatic Strands. They have no cards left in hand. Let's see how they attack. Just the flyers. Okay, we can take 4. And we find Lightning Bolt. Probably want to Lightning Bolt one of the ninjas, but these flyers are what's killing us. So maybe we take one of those out instead. It's pretty close between killing a flyer and killing a ninja. The ninjas are being held back right now. So I decided the flyers are what's killing us. We'll get rid of one of those. Okay, they're just coming in with the flyers again. That's the way it seems right now. Okay, that's fine. We'll take the damage. They have 1 card left in hand, and we drop Plains. Brutal. Okay, Augur Bolas. They find Preordain. Let's see how they scry. 1 top, 1 bottom, so they found a card they liked. Okay, we're going to try and prevent the damage here. We are very close to dead. If they have Bolt Bolt, we are dead. But I don't want to be playing around Bolt Bolt. Okay, we find Faithless Looting. Okay, that's a good one. That's a great card. Get rid of these Rally the Peasants. They're garbage. Okay, we find another Squadron Hawk. This one resolves. How many Squadron Hawks do we have left in the library? None. Too bad. Okay, we're just going to have to pass. Okay, they have Fire Ice. That's cool. That is awesome. Good reason to play this deck, Fire Ice. And the inventory is going to let them draw back up. Lightning Bolt our face. We have to let that happen. And if they have another Lightning Bolt in hand, we're dead. Okay, we managed to gain a little bit of time so far. But we're still behind the clock from our opponent. Good thing is our deck will be much better constructed games 2 and 3. But it is going to be a race against the clock here at this point. Okay, they got Lightning Bolt in hand, so we're dead. Okay, so we want all the red elemental blasts, all the pyroblasts. We want the Electrickery. And that's it. What are we going to take out here? I think we take out the Palace Sentinels because they have flyers. It's going to be too hard to keep the Monarch. And they aren't playing a Monarch card, so we won't have to play our card to take it back from them. Guardian of the Guildpact is quite clunky, but once it resolves, they cannot remove it. So I want to keep those. The Rally the Peasants, I'm fine with taking some of those out. Oblivion Ring, I don't think we need that. I like the Firebolt. I like the Lightning Bolts. The Journey to Nowhere, I think we can probably take that out. Either that or maybe one Journey, one Faithless Looting. We could also take out a Battle Screech. The opponent could be playing Scred. Or not Scred, sorry. They could be playing Electrickery. So we'll take out a Battle Screech. And one of the lootings. Okay, let's see here. So we have lands and spells, like the Red Elemental Blast. Seeker of the Way is okay on the play, although if they have Lightning Bolt or Scred early, it will die. We will keep this, though. Play Wind-Scarred Crag into Seeker of the Way turn 2, and then start holding up Red Elemental Blast. The Journey to Nowhere is going to be nice to be able to get rid of whatever their early threats are. We're going to try and keep on top of our skips here. Looks like the opponent is doing the same. They're playing quite quickly. They got their skips ready to go. Okay, preordain. Interesting thing about Pyroblast is that it checks if the permanent or spell is blue when it's resolving. So it can actually be cast at any time. Okay, we're going to attack here and pass. Hold up counter spells. At this point, one of their best spells is going to be Lightning Bolt, but we have Prismatic Strands for that. Okay, Boros Garrison. I'm going to tap this for red, play the Boros Garrison, return the mountain, and then Faithless Looting with the red mana. This will give Seeker of the Way lifelink and prowess. Spell Stutter Sprite on the Faithless Looting, so we can Red Elemental Blast the Spell Stutter Sprite. Okay, they have a blast as well, so we're going to go ahead and blast back. Quite the fight we're having here over a Faithless Looting, but every spell we cast here is also growing the Seeker of the Way. So we're going to smash in for 5. We'll get rid of a Faithless Looting and the Prismatic Strands, I think. Hold on, we'll get rid of the Prismatic Strands and the Mountain. Okay, that was a pretty good turn. Our opponent somehow still has a ton of cards in hand. Oh my, Spire Golem. Good thing we have a Journey to Nowhere. Lightning Bolt. Well, that's not going to do too much to the Spire Golem. But never fear, we have Journey to Nowhere. That'll get rid of the thing right good. Okay, we're going to turn on the auto yields. That'll save us a bit of time. Okay, our life total here doesn't really matter. It's much more important what the opponent's life total is here. Another Spire Golem, and we get Squadron Hawk. I think we attack here, and then if they block, we can... I think we Faithless Looting first. Okay, so let's consider this. Squadron Hawk to fill our hand up, and then Faithless Looting is way better. They have 3 cards in hand, though, so they could counter the Squadron Hawk. And they do. Okay, we're going to Faithless. Oh, neat. We find Firebolt. Put that in the graveyard. Cast it later. Okay, we'll attack now. And even if they have a counterspell for the Lightning Bolt, the blocker would die. Oh, nice. So they go ahead and concede here to conserve time. Phew. Let's go ahead and resubmit. I think we're ready to play with the same deck. Okay, we do have the 2 Journey to Nowhere. Just want to see if there's something we have. We could bring in the Shenanigans potentially for that Spire Golem. So we could try and cast that over and over again. It's only 1 card in the deck. I think we're able to concede that much. And if it gets rid of Spire Golem turn after turn, that would be pretty strong. Okay, so we have 2 Pyroblasts. We only have 1 land, unfortunately. We might have to mulligan this. Although the 2 Pyroblast, 2 Lightning Bolts are very strong. I'm going to keep it. We need to conserve time here. I don't want to spend too much time on my mulligan decision. Ah, unfortunate. Well, I suppose we asked for it. Let's discard Prismatic Strands. And opponent is just playing lands. Oh, this is miserable. We should have mulliganed. That's what I get for getting greedy. On the upside, we are discarding cards that have flashback. And here's a Spire Golem. And no land again. Miserable. Okay. Well, we deserve that. That is our fault that this happened. Opponent just showing off with all their land drops, though. I think this is definitely one case where Screw will not beat Flood. We should have been casting Lightning Bolts at end of turn. It's just so we don't have to discard. They'll probably play a Spellstutter Sprite here. And no land again. So the opponent can just sit back on their heels and attack every turn. think that we've missed land drops far too many times here. We're at turn 7. We're going to be going... oh, there's a land. Play Squadron Hawk. Eat up a counter. We didn't want to play Journey to Nowhere there and lose it to Spellstutter Sprite. We have a second Squadron Hawk in hand already. Or actually our third. Augur of Bolas, that's fine. And they get Skred. And we're looking for land here, don't find it. Land would have been very nice to counter whatever their answer to Journey to Nowhere would have been. Counterspell, yep. We have to pass. We're going to be taking 5 damage here, cuts us down to 5. We do have access to removal spells, so we can get rid of their 1-drops, or rather their 1-power creatures. Save ourselves a little bit of time, maybe. Okay, here's the land. So we're going to play Lightning Bolt and Red Elemental Blast, try and take out 2 of their creatures. But if they have Lightning Bolt themselves, we're toast. Okay, they're counterspelling. Oh, they're casting Echoing Truth on their Spellstutter Sprite? So that returns 2 of them. That's going to save us quite a bit of life. It does mean that they have 2 counterspells in hand, which basically means we're dead. So we're going to concede. Okay, we are going to keep. Our opponent is mulliganing. So they're down to 6 cards, they're down to 5 cards. They're taking their time on this decision, so it looks like it's pretty close, whether they want to keep or not. And they're keeping at 5. Forest, Llanowar, Elves. Okay, we're playing against the Elves deck. I want to keep my Firebolt for a better target. Not that I could hit them right now anyways, unless I draw a Mountain. So we'll play the Crag, and we'll see what they present for us turn 2 for the Firebolt. Prismatic Strands is going to be okay. The Oblivion Ring is going to be pretty good. We're going to have to be finding targets to remove. There's going to be very specific elves that we have to target. Priest of Titania is a problem card, especially early game. I think... Let's see here. I think I have an Elves deck in my collection. There it is. So their deck is going to look something like this. Priest of Titania is a problem card. Elvish Vanguard needs to be answered right away. The Huntmaster, same thing. And the Timberwatch Elf is a problem. Oh, okay, well that's different. We're actually playing against walls. I was totally wrong. Can't blame me for that. Firebolt won't hit the Battlement, but it will hit their elf. And we have Oblivion Ring for their better cards. Okay, Battle Screech. So I'm going to want to Firebolt the elf and play Boros Garrison. We'll have 3 mana for Oblivion Ring next turn if we need it. Otherwise, we'll want to play the tap land so we have access to 4 mana so we can put Palace Sentinels onto the board. Also, if we draw Journey to Nowhere. Oh, what's this? Tap an untap creature, add 1 mana. Okay. Creatures you control gain haste. Okay. I think we're going to want to get rid of the battlements here and get rid of their mana. So they went from having 3, 4, 5 mana to 2. They might actually choose lands for this. So they got Drift of the Phantasms and this Rumble Fort thing. Okay. We're hoping for an untapped land here. We get Thraben Inspector instead. Still fine. We can go ahead and draw a card immediately. Okay, we get another Thraben Inspector. We'll play our land, get a life, and pass. We're going to look to start Screeching or play Palace Sentinels to start drawing more cards. Either one seems good. Creatures you control have haste. Okay. Good thing we were able to get rid of that battlement. We would be in quite a bit of trouble otherwise. I think we want to play Inspector and Sentinels and start drawing more cards this turn. They're going to have a hard time taking the Monarch away from us. So those extra card draws are going to be crucial to get some of these things off the board. We'll be able to get rid of the Caretaker next turn and cut down their mana even further. And we'll have access to Prismatic Strands. If they... I don't think actually Prismatic Strands is going to do very much against the opponent. It will stop them, I think, 1 turn. But we haven't played against walls very much. So if it comes to that, I guess we'll find out. Don't remember exactly what the name of the kill condition is on their deck. I'm going to take a quick look on Google. Okay, let's get back into the game. Axebane Guardian, we have the Lightning Bolt for that, but their creatures have haste, so they're going to be able to make a ton of mana. They'll be able to take advantage of it. Unfortunate. Let's see what they can do. They have Transmute. So yeah, they're going to Transmute. They have a single blue floating. And they get to lead the Stampede. Okay, that's pretty good for them. But we will cut them off of mana here by getting rid of that Guardian. Oh, and we get Journey to Nowhere as well. Fantastic. Do we play the Journey to get rid of this mana source? I don't think we do. I think we wait for more interesting things. Then again, they haven't been getting lands, so if we take care of that, they're going to have a hard time casting anything at all. We have 4 mana left. I mean, that kind of leans me towards Battle Screech at this point. Okay, they'll take one. And we'll draw an extra card. They are going to be able to spend their turn to cast Lead the Stampede. But we have a decent board at this point, and if we get a... what's it called? Rally the Peasants, we're going to be able to do a ton of damage. Okay, so they get Overgrown Battlements, Vivian Grizzly. Interesting, so that lets them draw cards. Okay. And we get Squadron Hawk. So we're going to want to use the Journey to Nowhere on the battlements. Unfortunately, they're going to be able to give it haste, and they're going to be able to get that mana right away. We could crack the Clue and see if we get anything out of that. Okay, we get another Strands. I don't think Strands is going to prevent their win con. They use... where is it? Bloodright Invoker, which is loss of life. So yeah, the Strands are useless. We don't have quite enough mana to cast the Battle Screech anymore. Okay, so they'll take a few damage, but they're going to be able to get their mana going now. I think we put Battle Screech. No, we put Prismatic Strands down. Prismatic Strands isn't going to be able to save us. It doesn't really do anything in this matchup, unfortunately. So they do have quite a bit of mana here. And they use it for a Mole Drifter. Okay. Okay, we get land. We'll cast Journey. Get rid of that mana producer. I think we'll move in. Okay. We win. They got tired of losing all their dudes. So we're going to bring in Oblivion Ring. Shenanigans seems no good. Prismatic Strands is actually hot garbage. Molten Rain, not too priced in on that. They actually only play 13 lands. So there might be a reason for destroying their lands if they only have one or two. They play 4 Mole Drifters. Morning, Cooper. We've had 1 or 2 people around. So pretty consistent for our Pauper leagues. And we're on the final match. I don't think there's a big reason to be bringing in the Pyroblasts here, but it might be our best card in the sideboard. It's either that or Molten Rain to try and punish them for playing so few lands. We could also play Shenanigans, and it hits their Crashing Drawbridge, but that's it. Got the day off, gonna head to Costco. All right, don't forget your mask. Costco can be crazy. Okay, we don't have too much time left to decide on how we want to finish our board off here. I'm going to bring in the Pyroblasts. Not happy about it, but if we manage to counter a Mull Drifter with it, then we'll be ecstatic. I don't think Costco opens until 10, right? What do we got here? Journey to Nowhere, very good. Faithless Looting is fine. Seeker of the Way to produce pressure. We'll keep this. And it looks like our opponent is satisfied with their 7 as well. Yeah, that's true. I think actually the parking lot would still be full, even when the place isn't open for a half hour. A lot of people work there. Okay, they have their first turn play in Quirion Ranger. Very good magic card. And we get Guardian of the Guildpact. Solidly meh. So we could Faithless Looting as a start. Get rid of the Guardian. But I want to play this tap land. And we'll save the journey for the problem walls. Okay, here we are. Okay, here's the Overgrown Battlements. We have the removal spell, so we'll be able to answer it right away. No need to wait. Let's get rid of their mana while we can. No need to let them have access to 1,000,000 mana. I think I would have actually attacked first, but it doesn't really matter. They would have just had an untapped Quirion Ranger. Play Journey, get rid of Wall. We could have also gotten rid of Quirion Ranger there, but they would have had access to the same amount of mana. So, doesn't really matter, I suppose. Okay, they have another battlement. We might actually look at casting Faithless Looting here to try and find another answer. We find an answer right off the top. We're going to deploy it immediately. Molten Rain would actually be pretty nice here. Okay, here's a Caretaker. So that's going to be able to grant them more mana. With the Quirion Ranger, they're going to have access to, I think, 4 mana next turn. It would be a little bit difficult because this needs 2 creatures to be untapped each time. So they might only have access to 3. We'll see if we can draw a Lightning Bolt. Nope, Mountain. Okay, so we could play, I think Seeker Seeker is going to be the best thing to do here. And then we can start putting on pressure next turn. We managed to take care of their 2 main threats in mana production. The mana production they're going to get from this is going to be much slower. So now we're going to be able to apply pressure with the Faithless Looting to trigger the Seekers so that we can attack through their walls. We really don't have to worry about our clock here. Our opponent sat around for quite a bit of time, so their clock is quite a bit slower than ours. Oh, that's pretty good. Our opponent found another big mana production, so we're going to need an answer to that. Squadron Hawk is not the answer we're looking for. The question is, do we cast the Squadron Hawk before the Faithless Looting so that we can get a bunch of cards? That means that Journey to Nowhere won't be good enough, but Lightning Bolt will. We only have 1 Journey left in the deck and 4 Lightning Bolts. So we're going to cast the Squadron Hawk to fill up our hand. And try and find Lightning Bolt. Hey, we found Lightning Bolt. That's pretty great. We'll keep the Firebolt to get rid of their Quirion Ranger next turn, but we'll use the Lightning Bolt to get rid of their Guardian now. We'll discard the 2 Squadron Hawks. We could have also discarded Guardian here. We're going to hold off on the Lightning Bolt if they block. That's better for us. I don't think they will block, but if they did, it would have been better. So we gave them the opportunity to make the bad play. I wouldn't have been entirely surprised if they conceded to that, but we're cool with continuing to play, of course. Okay, Winding Way. Choosing creatures, and they got Finehorn Elves, and that's it. So that was a pretty bad Winding Way. Okay, we find Plains. So we're going to Firebolt their Quirion Ranger, get that off the board. They've been making a ton of mana with that Quirion Ranger. This is going to stifle that mana. Ah, there we go. Concession. Okay, so we managed to 3-2 that league.